The Eagles won the Super Bowl with two former Colts. Maybe we should have kept them. Let's talk about it.
We make the f***ing rules this time. No more talk. Just win. Let's go.
Touchdown! I-N-D-Y! Anthony Richardson.
All right, so before we get into this, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any more content. And we're going to be talking about one player and one coach that were on the Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles that were on the Colts very recently. That is head coach Nick Sirianni and defensive back Isaiah Rodgers. Now, Nick Sirianni wasn't really like, it wasn't like we fired him and he went to the Eagles. He just got poached from us. And I'm not sure how much credit Nick Sirianni technically should get for what he did in Indianapolis or what he did in Philadelphia. Like in Indianapolis, Frank Reich called the plays. Like he was the head play caller. And Nick Sirianni's best year as an offensive coordinator was his first year in 2018, where we were, 8th in points, 4th in yards, 4th in yards, 8th in points. Like we were just a top 10 offense pretty much across the board. But that was also Andrew Luck's last season in the NFL, and he won Comeback Player of the Year. He had like 40 touchdowns that year or something crazy like that. So you kind of don't know how much credit you give Nick Sirianni. And then when he went to Philly, he called the plays for, I think, a year and then stopped calling plays. And the next year, they went to the Super Bowl, and he gave play calling duties to Shane Steichen. And then the next year, they hired another offensive coordinator. They fired that guy. And then the following year, this year, when they won the Super Bowl, they had Kellen Moore calling the plays. So Nick Sirianni is not a play caller. He seems to be like a vibes kind of coach, kind of like a Dan Campbell, kind of like rah-rah, cheer him on kind of guy. So I don't know if, say, in an alternate universe, Nick Sirianni doesn't get hired by the Eagles and Frank Reich gets fired and we just promote from within and Nick Sirianni stays the head coach of the Colts. Do I see the Colts becoming a Super Bowl contender? Obviously, it's hard to say that with Andrew Luck retiring at that moment. It would have been hard for any coach to really, be as productive as you could be without a starting franchise caliber quarterback. But say we swapped out Nick Sirianni for Shane Steichen right now. Like, how many people would be willing to do that, knowing what we know now, seeing what we've seen from Shane Steichen and Nick Sirianni as with his time with Philadelphia? Now, me personally, I would stick with Shane Steichen. Like, he calls the plays. Like, he's designing the plays. He makes up the scheme. Everything is pretty much from him. And from what I read and heard from interviews, he invented the tush push. Like, that's his play call. So, like, it's almost like Nick Sirianni, what is it that you do here exactly? Like, would the Eagles trade Nick Sirianni for Shane Steichen? I think they would, like in a heartbeat. I think they would immediately. Speaking of the tush push, let's kind of bring that over to Indy. We have like a 6'5" quarterback that's 240. Like, why can't we do that? We have Quentin Nelson on the team. Run a tush push with us. All right. So the second person we're going to talk about is Isaiah Rodgers. Now, his situation is a little bit different. He got suspended for gambling and then released. He was suspended for a year and then was released at the end of that suspension. And from what I understand, he was betting, he bet the over on rushing yards for Jonathan Taylor, which, okay, I get it. Gambling on the NFL as an NFL player is wrong. I get it. You're not supposed to bet. You're not supposed to whatever. But as an organization, if I find that you're betting on the team, but you're betting on our team to do well, I don't really, it's hard for me to view that as a negative. If you was to bet, and he was on the team the year he got suspended, I think it was the year he was on 2022. he didn't play in 2023, so he was on the Carson Wentz team, I believe, in 2022. No, that was was that the Matt Ryan year? It was. Yikes. All right. So, like, if Isaiah Rodgers was betting Matt Ryan to throw over 1.5 interceptions, or for Michael Pittman Jr. to have under 30 yards, like, I would look at that as more of a negative than betting on Jonathan Taylor to have over 80 yards in a game. Like, you're betting on your teammates to do well in the game. Like, I don't see that as a negative. I don't see that as being a bad teammate. Like being the bad teammate is the betting, but actually betting for your team to be successful, I think releasing him was a step a little too far considering his age, where his contract was. Like, he was only in his 3rd year or going into his 4th year. If you suspend him but like still keep him, you probably could have kept him for a lot cheaper. And he was a very productive player for, I think he was like the 3rd or 4th cornerback. Now, imagine our defense with Isaiah Rodgers on it. So, you have, and this is hypothetically, obviously, because we have yet to really see this, but you have Juju Brent, Jalen Jones, Kenny Moore. Do we still get Sam Womack if Isaiah Rodgers is here? That would be kind of the coin toss in that. But let's just assume we still have Sam Womack. Now you add Isaiah Rodgers to that cornerback room. You move Sam Womack down. You might even move Jalen Jones down. Like, that automatically improves your defensive back room, your cornerback room specifically. And you almost turn not really a weakness, but you strengthen that. You turn that into a positive. And when Isaiah Rodgers gets the ball in his hand, he is a playmaker. Like, he's one of the fastest guys. He was one of the fastest guys in our secondary while he was here. So to just kind of cut bait with him that quickly, even at the moment when it happened, I was kind of like, I felt like the team, Ballard, I feel like he overreacted. And when I saw that the Eagles were the one to claim him, that's when I was like, yeah, definitely overreacted. Because at the time, Philly was a good team. They were a good organization. Like, there's just certain teams and franchises that when they make a move and where they do something, it usually works because they're well run. And if we release a player, or if we don't re-sign a player and a certain team signs them, then I'm going to question how I feel about that player. So, for example, say the Colts decide they do not want to sign, they don't want to re-sign EJ Speed. They're just like, you know what? We had a good time, but this is just not going to work, and we, go ahead and go somewhere else and try to, get paid by somebody else. If the Kansas City Chiefs are beating down his door because they want him to start for them, or if like the Pittsburgh Steelers or the Baltimore Ravens come around and EJ Speed has those teams vying for his attention, I'm going to start looking at I'm going to start questioning myself, like, damn, maybe we should have kept him. Like, the Chiefs have one of the best defenses in the league. The Ravens and the Steelers are known for having playmaking linebackers, and they want EJ Speed. Maybe we should have kept him. Now, if we let EJ Speed go in like a bad team, well, I can't even say a bad team because we're a bad team, but you know what I'm saying. If a bad team with a historically bad defense is going after him, then I don't feel so bad. But yeah, at the end of the day, I think we should have kept Isaiah Rodgers, even though he did get in trouble for gambling. Nick Sirianni, I think he's just right place, right time kind of guy. Like, he kind of, I don't want to say he got lucky because he did put in a lot of work to get to where he's at, but he doesn't call the plays, and he's not a defensive coordinator, so I'm sure he does something there, but I can't give him credit for the offense over there, and I can't give him credit for the offense that he built here. So, yeah, I wish we would have kept Isaiah Rodgers. That would have alleviated a lot of pressure on our defense, and going into the draft and free agency, that's one less thing we would have had to worry about. So let me know in the comments what you guys think. Should we have kept Nick Sirianni? Should we have kept Isaiah Rodgers? How do you feel about players gambling on their own teams, whether for positive or negative? Let me know in the comments. Appreciate it. Peace.
Thanks for watching, babe. Make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel.